Hi, my name is Rose Jorba, and this is my 2014 Alfa Romeo Giulietta. I'm a creative producer, so I bring ideas to life, from developing an idea and to creating a whole concept and full campaigns. I'm based in London, so I get the chance to work with a lot of international brands, and I really like creating content for cool audience. I think the most interesting part about my job is developing creative ideas, and how I do that is by watching a lot of films, going to museums, traveling a lot, and I've always followed a lot of art. So getting inspiration from Hopper or Gregory Crowdson, from painters to photographers to artists, that really inspires me, and that's how I put the ideas together. I can go from Picasso to someone really modern, and then grab ideas like Sasha Samsonova, who is a really good photographer. So just picking up ideas from the whole timeline in art. I work under the name She's Underway online. It all started a few years ago when I started the blog, and I needed a name that portrayed who I was. I was always traveling and going to visit a lot of art museums, and I wanted to talk about it. And She's Underway was a name that helped me not having an end and always continuing living new experiences. And I started writing about going to the MoMA and going to Washington, D.C. and all these amazing museums that I've always wanted to go. And it gave me the platform to talk about things I actually enjoyed and meeting new people as well. And from there, I kind of took this name with me, and it worked with everything I did. My passion for cars started with Formula One. So since I was little, I used to watch all the Formula One races with my parents. So that's something, it was always on TV. And I started going to the races, and I just enjoyed the adrenaline that just by being there. And then since I was very little, I started loving driving and karting. And that's when it all started. Then when I moved to the US, I think because I was based in Connecticut, is for the first time I started seeing supercars and really cool cars I've never seen in Spain before. And I started getting passionate about it and meeting people there, part of this world. And that's when I moved to London. It's when I started finding the right people and getting into the right industry of the classic cars and the classic world, which I've never seen before. So it's all pretty recent, but I'm enjoying it a lot, and I feel so passionate about it. I use photography as one of my creative tools, and when I started getting into the car world, I used it to meet new people and to start getting into this industry. And I think that was a chance for me to meet up with people from Instagram and getting people to do shoots with, and it's just starting to get into it, and I think that's a great thing to be part of. When it comes to taking photos of cars, my main thing is the aesthetic of it and the colors and how something is shot. I really like playing with depth of field and really close-ups, which is something I don't see much online. So I'm just going for the unusual shots and unusual view. I come from more of a fashion background, and having this experience and bringing it to cars without having background car photography experience is giving a new vision for it. And I think that's what I like the most, that it's different, and you can play with it with different lenses that are not supposed to be for cars, and what can you do with it, and finding the right details with the right amount of depth of field. It just looks something different online that people maybe haven't seen before. The reason why I wanted to buy a car is because I love to drive, and I love night drives mainly. It's very good for my mental health to go on night drives and play music and hang out with friends in the middle of the night. So I wanted this freedom. And when I was looking for a car, I felt like I had to own an Alfa Romeo. So I went for the Alfa Romeo Giulietta, which is quite light. So even if it's a 1.4, it's quite fast, and I quite enjoyed this excitement. And yeah, I think it's good for what it does, and I love driving it. and I was able to change the front grille, which I quite liked, and that's something I saw in the street and I wanted for myself. As a producer, I travel a lot around the country, so buying a white car was a big mistake, but that's why I love being able to clean it at home and having the right products for it. So it's always shiny and nice. I really like the process of cleaning the car, mainly because it's a white car and it can get really dirty. So during the winter, it's nice to clean it and see the difference. It's very therapeutic and it's a nice process to do in the weekends. I painted the wheels matte black because I really like the aesthetic with the white car, but it hides the brake dust, so for that I really needed a thorough cleaner. It's important to find a product that protects the matte paint but also cleans it thoroughly. The thing with white paint is that marks show up really easily, so it's really useful to have a color wax in hand to cover up all the marks and have it shoot ready. I think one of the night drives that I remember the most, it was during COVID, and I went around central London and it was completely empty, and I took my camera with me and I was able to stop in Piccadilly Circus and Trafalgar Square and take photos of the screens, and it's just being alone with the car in the middle of one of the main cities in the world that was completely satisfying to be part of this, and that's the freedom that gives me having this car. With Christmas coming up, I'm excited to be taking the Alfa Romeo on a road trip back home to Barcelona. So by the time I get home, I'll definitely need a clean.